Are you the reckless type? Then maybe you should get this pull-up rack. So Gravity Fitness is a UK-based company and they have created a lot of cool products and we have reviewed a lot of them already. And this pull-up rack we already own over 3 years, and now they have created a extension kit which actually makes the bar higher and also more stable. So let's redo the review. So first we will discuss the pull-up rack by itself and later we will discuss the extension kit. So it was relatively easy to set this one up. It has the anti-slip feet on the bottom which are made of rubber. Then the rest is made of steel and you have these little clips, so it's quite easy to just put those through and then they will stay into place. The whole pull-up bar weighs 19 kilos and it can actually handle 110 kilos. So the rubber caps kind of leave a stain on your floor when you move it. So always pick up the bar before you move it. So the width of the bar is like 1.15 meters and it's the same right here and also down there, of course. And then here we have 120 centimeters. And when it comes to the height, 190 centimeters. When it comes to the neutral grip over here, 68 centimeters, and then the diameter is 38 millimeters. So actually I have to bend my knees when doing pull-ups and chin-ups, so this is something that maybe the extension kit will be nice, that it's gonna be a little bit higher, but it's definitely doable. So I am like 185, so I think for people who are taller than me, this is definitely not gonna be high enough. It wobbles slightly, so for instance when you're doing a skin the cat, this is a bit sketchy.
I mean, I'm exaggerating, but it does wobble. It messes with your mind more than it actually does anything. Yeah, it's a bit smooth. Like, I feel if I'm really gonna sweat, then I'm gonna notice, and then I'll need like chalk or something. I mean, it doesn't actually do anything. Again, it's a mental thing, because this is not... Yeah, as soon as I did the negative, it became way too much. Like this, I don't feel comfortable doing muscle ups.
Yep, get your point. So one more option is actually to turn this one on its side, then you can do stuff on that side. Ta-ta. This one is more stable. So you can do a pullover. So that's actually quite nice, the straight bar dips on this. So another option is to actually turn it around. So let's check that out. So now you can actually use this bar to do push-ups. That's quite nice. You might think to always put it on this side, but now you can't really do a pullover there because then it will tilt over. That feels actually super stable. One more option for doing muscle ups on this bar is actually doing it on the rings. So when you're doing muscle ups on the rings, actually you want to be facing that direction because otherwise you might be hitting the pins with your elbows. And of course, you can also do ring dips like this. And of course, L-sit, or you can go for lever-based exercises. So as you can see, rings are very nice used with this. Of course, you can't really do exercise to the side because then you will be pulling over the pull-up rack. It is not that high. So for instance, pull-ups on the rings, if you want to do that, then I'd prefer using this one. It's kind of similar with the rubber bands. If you hang it here, you'll be pulling it over. So you could try doing certain warm-up exercises like this, but actually it already starts wobbling a bit. For certain exercises, to make use of the power that the band provides, then you need to be fully extended. So for instance, with assisted pull-ups, you will actually be touching the floor. So that's not ideal. Also, you can use the rubber bands to do some assisted work on the floor. So if you, for instance, get the parallettes, then you can do some assisted planche work. So another thing is that you could try some weighted calisthenics with this. And of course, certain exercises will be very nice with a weight vest. Because actually with a weight belt, again, it's too low and the weights that you have between your legs will be hitting the floor. Also, it can handle 110 kilos. So that means if you will be doing a heavy lift, then it depends on your own body weight, whether it can handle it. So I weigh about 74 kilos. So with this, it's like 94 kilos. So let's check whether it can handle it. So it can, but there's like 16 kilos in between the weight capacity and what I'm weighing now. So one more option you have is actually to take this bar out, and then you can actually use this neutral grip, which you can also use for neutral grip chin-ups. You can also use it for dips. This is actually quite a nice option. You can do this, it's a bit wide, but of course it depends. You can do L-sit, muscle up. It's quite doable. So after 3 years, it is still a very nice bar. I really like using gymnastics rings with it. It does wobble a bit, but for your basics, it is very nice. For me, it is on the low side, so it would be nice if it's a little bit taller. That is why I'm very curious about the extension kit. So we will have to put it in here. So let's do that right now. So one thing right here, you have a hole, which I would assume that you would put the clips in, but actually there's no hole in this thing in the middle. So you just put it over. Wow, there you go. You kind of want to have this one as far as possible to the side. So on that side, we actually put in the bottom part first and then the top part. This was kind of a hassle, but now we have put in the top part first. So let's try the bottom one. So then we stand on the rack. Okay, that went way easier. And now we put back the rubber caps. Opa. If you take off all the 4 rubber caps off and then put in the top of the extension in first and then the bottom one, then it's actually quite easy. So when it comes to the look of the extension kit, I'm not sure if I would prefer it to be black instead of like the orange. Whoa. Honestly, way more stable. Because it's much higher, now I don't need to bend my knees, so it's really nice. So you mostly notice the difference on the top. So when you're, for instance, doing pull-ups, it's much more stable. One thing though is that because it's kind of tilting more this direction now, because it's a bit bent, I feel that it's a little bit more easily going forward. Okay, muscle up is not ideal, also because of the ceiling, but because it's also higher. When you do exercises on the top, it really just wobbles. Yeah, much nicer. With the other one, when it was lower, I really had to bend my knees so much that a toe touch was not that nice. It's about 220 high now with the extensions on there, so it's definitely a big difference. So it's basically 30 centimeters in difference when it comes to the height, so that definitely helps. So it now actually weighs 28 kilograms, so this is about 9 kilos heavier. So this is what the extension kit weighs. I wouldn't take off this extension kit that often because it's much nicer like this. It's much higher, it's much more stable. And they can now actually handle up to 200 kilos. So this is 90 kilos more than the original version. So even with the rings, it's much nicer. The rings, of course, are unstable, but you just know much better how it will move because this one is more stable. And it's also very nice that it's much higher, and then you have much more room to do your dips on the top and your pull up on the bottom when doing the muscle up. So even for exercise to the side, this is quite doable. Maybe with a heavier band, it might start tilting, but it's definitely more stable now. So when it comes to the pricing, the pull-up rack by itself costs 130 euros. And if you get the extension kit separately, it will be 60 euros. But if you get it in a bundle, then everything together will be 155 euros. So this will save you 35 euros. And actually, we already really liked the pull-up rack by itself. But with the extension kit, everything just becomes really much better. All of the exercises, but also with the rings. It does seem to bend a little bit, but this is not a problem at all. It just becomes much more stable. Plus the height is so nice for doing your exercise like your pull-ups without bending your knees. So if it were up to me, I would definitely get the extension kit when you are getting this pull-up rack. But also if you already have the pull-up rack, we really just like the extension kit so much that we definitely recommend it. So if you're interested in getting this bar or the extension kit, you should click the links in the description. And for the rest, we hope we helped you out by making this review. If you want us to review any other products, let us know in the comments and we will see you in the next one. Have a good day.